Good morning, esteemed judges, honorable Mr. Chairman, and my worthy opponents. Here today to discuss whether applied in military courts or not. And first I want to remind you of what it is. The United States Department of Defense states that terror is the calculated use of unlawful violence intended to coerce or to intimidate governments. In United States law, the definition is slightly different, saying terrorism imitated politically motivated violence perpetrated against non-combatant targets by subnational groups or secret agents. And the FBI has another definition of terror, saying a person who uses unlawful use of force or violence against persons or property to intimidate the government, the civilian population, or any segment thereof. And according to these multiple definitions, many situations fall under the category of terrorism, but are not serious enough to be tried. 6 members of the group Greenpeace, an organization meant to spread peace and environmental protection throughout the world, in Alaska, in order to protest oil drilling. Now this was use of violence that was politically motivated against non-combatant targets, making it terrorism under United States law, and would generally not consider it. And in 2005, the FBI publicly stated that animal rights activists and eco-terrorists pose as one of the most serious terrorist threats to the nation. John Lewis, the FBI's Deputy Assistant Director for Counterterrorism, said animal and environmental rights extremists have claimed credit for more than 1,200 criminals since 1990. And a few of the FBI's major concerns are the ALF, which is Animal Liberation Front, and the ELF, which is the Earth Liberation Front. It is not necessary to involve the as a military court trials of members of the military and for crimes committed during war, such as for a trial of a prisoner of war. Neither of those things are involved with a terrorist, or many other which we would consider terrorists under popular legal definition. And punishment for environmentalists, and neither is it needed to decide the punishment of a terrorist. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, honorable judges, and my worthy opponents. Today we discuss a rather controversial topic. My input is that inevitably, all terrorists should be tried in military courts on the basis of 3 reasons. First, that terrorists being tried in civilian courts is a compromise of our United States national security. Second, is that the U.S. government should not release classified information regarding the U.S. military and its role in protecting the nation from terrorism. And lastly, that the cost of security to ensure the safety of America while terrorists are on trial in civilian courts far outweighs the justification. During the trials regarding terrorism, it is without a doubt that confidential information would ultimately never be released in a public forum, would now be released and broadcast. This includes response procedures, mobilization and location of terror prevention units, and equipment used for the detection of terrorism. Do we really want enemy nations, rogue citizens, to have access to this sort of information? In addition, information from the Central Intelligence Agency, which protects us globally, would be compromised. This may seem like common sense, but shouldn't any information in the CIA be kept in the CIA? Information regarding other affiliates, suspects under surveillance, and other classified information that would typically be held from U.S. citizens would not be released. This is all for the protection of our homeland security. Putting terrorists on trial in civilian courts also cripples our ability to acquire valuable information that the U.S. government could use to prevent future attacks. Allowing terrorists to be tried in civilian courts would diminish the potential of gathering resourceful information. Giving any person who imposes terror through action in opposition of the United States government does not deserve the right to remain silent. Giving a terrorist this right is a serious failure of our system, especially when more Americans could face another attack. In conclusion, the security cost of allowing these defacers of the U.S. Constitution to stand on trial is nowhere near its purpose. Security alone for federal trials for American terrorists costs millions of dollars. Trying foreign terrorists costs 3 times that amount. The cost to keep them in our prisons is even more than the average amount to keep a convicted killer in a maximum security penitentiary. You do the math. Virginia Senator James Webb states it well. It will be disruptive, costly, and potentially counterproductive to try them as criminals in our civilian courts. They do not belong in our country, they do not belong in our courts, and they especially do not belong in our prisons. Thank you.